I know I am not alone when I say I am so sick of seeing the same type of face all over Instagram. They're starting to call it the iPhone face. And so many celebrities are starting to get work done so that there's just this like general homogeny happening so that everybody's kind of looking the same. It's very uncanny valley. And I think we're about to move into this new phase where people are just like craving like authenticity and individuality because we are just all over it. Trend culture is definitely out of control with TikTok and short form content and just general hyper consumerism. Also, this general sameness is really a bad thing because we're erasing diversity, we're erasing individuality and self expression, which is always a bad thing for many reasons, but not least because it's also boring. So, today I want to talk about a few things that I've discovered have really helped me find my style, find especially a sense of confidence in how I look because I don't look like an iPhone face. And this is definitely not to bash anybody who has chosen to get any kind of work done, but I think we are definitely moving into a time where we want to see people looking like people. Think about how many headlines there were about like Amy Lou Wood's teeth because people loved it. People were so excited to see a celebrity rocking their imperfect teeth that made them look so unique and even more beautiful because of it. And yeah, I just thought it was funny how much it was like headlines, right? And I think especially in the States, in North American culture, in Hollywood culture, we are just seeing so much of the same. So today I want to talk about some tools I've discovered that have really helped me to find a sense of self-confidence and really find forms of self-expression that feel really authentic to me, whether it's from finding like hyper niche aesthetics or using style systems as a tool to help me in this process, or finding inspiration from things like art, colors, characters, all kinds of things. So let's get into it. First off, you gotta learn how to romanticize yourself. You can do that in a lot of ways, of course, but one of which is finding your own personal like look that you have naturally in something like art or in something like a character from a movie or a show. I know I was talking about celebrities, but like I don't know, 2015, a lot less celebrities were having like all this work done. So, yeah, basically, I think it's great to find people who actually look like you, who haven't had like a ton of work done, who don't have filters all over their face. So, one thing I found as I was growing up, and I really struggled with, my sense of self confidence because I didn't look like kind of what I was being told was pretty and traditionally pretty. At least when I was growing up, it was like a little button nose, more perfect skin, big eyes. And like I felt like I had these like stronger facial features, like a stronger nose. And to me, I really didn't like it until I started to romanticize it. So, one thing I found was pre-Raphaelite paintings. I've talked about pre-Raphaelite paintings a lot. I've done makeup looks inspired by them, but I am particularly enamored with them because I found a way to see myself in them. I find the women in these paintings have stronger facial features. They kind of have those stronger nose bridges and noses, and they've made me feel like I can find a sense of beauty that also reflects some of my personal style too, because I do have a penchant for like ethereal, romantic things. So these paintings kind of straddle that perfect line of being something I'm attracted to in art, but also feeling like they're showing a representation of some of my characteristics. Someone I found recently who has really helped me is Chapel Roan. I don't think she's had any work done, which I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do find she has more unique features. And I've been told a lot that I look like her, and I'm so flattered. And she's someone I haven't really seen in pop culture as much, that type of facial features, including slightly longer faces, slightly longer nose. And I am feeling really inspired by her, even though some of her style is very out there. I admire it so much for her. It's not necessarily my style, but seeing someone who looks like me or shares some features with me has helped. And that's why diversity is so important in general, and representation in shows and movies. And of course, as a white person, I've seen so much, too much white representation. Even when it comes to just traditional like beauty standards, so to say, like there's also, we need more representation in all kinds of ways too, right? So finding people who look like you is a great way to start to romanticize your life. People who look like you that you also feel like, wow, I love how they look. Whether it's finding more people online who maybe have body types like you, because we only see really thin women for the most part. You need to like start getting the images of people who can inspire you and body types who look like you, who have roles like you. Like I follow a lot of women on Instagram who, aren't super thin and help me feel better about how I look. But let's get into more like finding inspiration from like mythic muses. I think you can have so much fun thinking about the things that inspired you as a kid. Was it witches? Was it fairies? Was it Greek goddesses? That's on kind of my level because I can take so much inspiration from like mythic muses like that. Or maybe it's like decades you liked, like the 1960s, or even something as far back as like the 1800s. What are certain like things you engaged with either now or growing up that kind of made you feel like really inspired and lit up? And what was your Halloween costume as a kid that you loved the most? And is there little bits of that you can like integrate into your style and how you're romanticizing yourself? I've said it here many times, but I loved Lord of the Rings growing up, and I dressed up as Galadriel for Halloween. So I take inspiration from like ethereal sparkles and long hair. So think about the things that inspired you as a kid and really the things that you kind of think back on that lit you up and that can still light you up. Maybe it's even like a season, like autumn. I love autumn, so I'll take a lot of inspiration from autumn colors. When it comes to hyper niche aesthetics, I know people kind of think of these things as really, really hyper trends, but I don't really see it that way because I think hyper niche aesthetics, like let's think of like dark academia. That is something that's very evocative of a feeling, and it's very specific, like a bookworm in autumn in Edinburgh and the kind of colors involved in that. Like, what are things like that that sometimes might cross your feed or cross your, algorithm, but actually make you feel like really inspired, and it's not just a passing trend. Like recently I did 80s dark fantasy look because a lot of you love 80s dark fantasy movies. Modern medieval is something I want to explore. People who kind of love medieval aesthetics, and how could you integrate that into a modern look or a modern expression of yourself. So I think hyper niche stuff is really fun and can just help you get really specific, like whimsigoth. What a fun aesthetic to explore, and I think it really encapsulates a lot of things too. I do want to touch on style systems, from things like the Kibbe system, the Kitchener style essences, to color seasons, to even Silky Mochi's dark muses, which I just explored. Style systems are a tool, not a rule. These are sometimes things you can get really obsessive over too, like what's my color season? You can use these things to help guide you and give you some structure to your explorations, but don't feel like you have to follow everything it says, like summers can't wear black. That's crazy. But sometimes these things can be really helpful. For example, the Kibbe body styling system helped me discover that I was something called a soft natural, and it helped me with like embracing parts of myself that I thought was just wrong with me. Like, why do I wear a t-shirt and it just feels like I'm so enclosed but looks so good on someone else? It's like because I have some width to honor in this part of my body. So open necklines work. But it doesn't mean I have to follow every single thing that system says, but they can be very useful. And you can create your own systems. Like my friend and fellow YouTuber Silky Mochi created the Dark Muse system, where you use these mythic muses as inspiration for your looks. So definitely check out her system if you like dark aesthetics. And sort of like back to finding people who look like you in some ways, like This makeup look I just did was inspired by an actress, Anna Lamb, who stars in North of North. She doesn't look like me, like facially, but there's a lot of aspects of her appearance that I can kind of find little bits of myself in, like kind of fuller cheeks. When I smile, I kind of have fuller cheeks, and I think they look so beautiful on her. And so that inspires me. And then her beautiful, ethereal, long hair, though I'm not quite there, and I don't think I'll ever get there. Like, I like seeing how she rocks straight hair. I'm actually sometimes insecure of how straight my hair is. But she looks beautiful, and I'm inspired by that. As well with like, I was talking about the Kibbe system and the width in my frame I need to honor. She has that as well, I noticed. And there's this look she had where she was really like wearing this off-shoulder thing, and I just felt kind of seen in some ways. Like that's how I look, and she is so beautiful. So once again, even if someone doesn't look exactly like you can sometimes find these parts of them that, inspire you. Like chubby cheeks. Sometimes I was insecure of that. But then I'll see people with fuller cheeks and I think they're gorgeous, So it is important to like look for yourself beyond what is kind of this unattainable, crazy beauty standard these days. And then remember, everything's a trend at some point. And that's why trends can sometimes be occasionally helpful and most of the time hindering on like a small anecdotal level. Eyebrow trends are so interesting because in the past, I'd say 10 years, we've been rocking fuller brows. And the amount of times I heard people saying, do not pluck your brows, do not pluck your brows. You don't want to be like left like how I was in the 90s with no brow hairs left. And I definitely understand the conceit there and the idea of, rocking your natural brow or going for the bushier brow. But I just sort of without thinking did the same, rock the fuller brow. And it was never working for me. I was always trying to fill in my brow, but it was like there's so much kind of getting in the way. And it wasn't until I ended up just being like, I'm going to thin my brows, even though it's not a trend, that I was like, oh my God, this looks so much better. At least in my opinion right now. But I look back, I'm like, what was I thinking? But it was the trend to have like these fuller brows. It just wasn't working for me. And of course, a lot of this comes down to personal preference and style. And that is so important and is really the most important thing. But just remember, your body type's going to be in style one day and then it's not. And so the way these things change so much, I know we all know this, but sometimes we just need these reminders. Like, that's why trends could be so problematic. They could be helpful when it's like they land on the trend that's like, oh, that works for me. Thanks for the reminder. Like, I realize how much I don't like skinny jeans and they don't work for me. And when wide leg jeans came in style, I was like, this is silly. This is just recycling old trends. And then as an adult, I tried on wide leg jeans and I'm like, oh, this works for me, So sometimes it can be nice to like be introduced to something new, but don't box yourself in. Never box yourself in, and just remember that just because something's trending doesn't mean that you have to follow it, of course. So with all that in mind, I hope this was just a nice reminder of all the ways you can explore like style and personal expression and find confidence by really looking outside the boxes of what we're being told and inundated with of what you should look like. And yes, especially for women, this is very, very important because we see these images online that like half the time they're not even real. You can edit photos so much, you can edit videos now. It's kind of terrifying. And I think romanticizing yourself and really finding a way to be your own muse is so integral to finding a deeper sense of confidence and authenticity with how you express yourself. And also remember that when you do all these things, you end up saving a lot of money because you're not hopping on trends, and you're also helping save the planet because you're not contributing to overconsumption. This is good for you and good for the planet. So definitely, I think we sometimes need those reminders to take a step back. Social media is telling us a bit of a lie to get us to buy things, and have fun. Have fun with your style. Have fun with romanticizing yourself. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, if it resonated with you, definitely consider subscribing to my channel. Anybody who's been here for a while knows I love to do things like explore hyper niches and all kinds of aesthetics and romanticize myself and makeup and beauty. So yeah, that's it for today. Toasty! Let's take it away. Thank you, everybody who made it until the end. We really appreciate it. Help support the channel. And if you want to discover more bonus content, check out my Patreon link down below. And until next time, may you all find yourselves a little bit of style magic, makeup magic, and we will see you in the next video. Bye, bitches.